Okay, bye. Dance, please. What are you doing?
Dancing.
12-year-old Safira is a sixth grader at this village school in the lush Masaka area in rural Uganda. She's in a happy mood today because her teacher, Mr. Tamale, told the class they're expecting a visitor.
Hello. Hello.
George Kate, the outreach tutor for this area, will spend an hour with Safira and her classmates.
Morning, class.
The children love Mr. Kate's visits because when the tutor spends time in the classroom, Mr. Tamale becomes a more interesting teacher.
Has he done it?
Mr. Kate is a guide to primary teachers in 27 schools within a 15-kilometer area in the Masaka district.
To read out their set of verbs.
Every day I just visit one or two schools, but you can cover maximum of 20 schools a month.
Mr. Kate and about 500 other outreach tutors in Uganda travel long distances, often over difficult roads, to help teachers become familiar with new teaching materials and methods. Mr. Kate used to teach primary school himself, but went on to get special training to become a tutor.
What can you say about this card? They see me as a supporter. I just try to encourage them, try to make them realize their mistakes, and then later on we do find a solution to their problems.
They do help us. They try to show us that this thing here is wrong. If you do it here, it is good. So with that, you know how we improved on that.
Thank you, sir.
To principals or head teachers, Mr. Kate is a mentor.
Dear parents, you are welcome to this mobilization.
To villagers, he's someone they can come to for help and advice. Mr. Kate's job, complex and often grueling, is vital to the success of educational reforms Uganda has been putting in place since 1993. These educational improvements are transforming Uganda's school system and serving as a model for the region. In this edition of Global Links, a look at the sweeping reforms which are improving the quality of primary education and getting more children into classrooms. The road to reform hasn't been easy. In fact, at one point in Uganda's history, it was impossible to even imagine.
We saw many schools being used as areas where gorillas could camp, and in some areas pupils were chased away. No studying was going on.
President came up on
Beginning in the late 60s, rulers like Milton Obote and Idi Amin destroyed the Ugandan economy and murdered their own people for power and profit. A civil war to drive Obote from power in the 80s left the country in ruins.
The effect of the war years on the schools was really devastating. You lost schools, whole structures, they were damaged.
We lost all our teachers. And even the teachers who were training as soon as they were trained, because there was no way that government could hold on to them.
Yet during these years, even the poorest parents continued to pay for their children's education, often at great personal sacrifice.
Parents had, for many generations, believed that education was the key to success. So they continued. They picked up what government had failed to support.
In the politics of our country.
When Yoweri Museveni took power after a bloody civil war in 1986, people wondered if he would continue with the legacy of abuse. He did not. Under Museveni's leadership, the country has slowly achieved political and economic stability. In 1997, after 10 years in power, Museveni was elected president. The new government believed in the power of education and gave it top priority.
Shake the mango tree.
Its plan to completely reform the primary education system was ready in 1993. Teacher training, curricular changes, book distribution, and community outreach would be tackled all at once. It was an ambitious and expensive plan. To pay for the reforms, the government diverted money from the military and higher education to primary education, increasing its budget by 55%. But even that was not enough. International donors stepped in with much-needed financial support. Rising from the ashes, Uganda had to make a difficult choice about where to begin its reform. Should the country focus on getting more children into school or on improving the quality of education for the children already enrolled? It decided to go after quality. The Tamale family is up early today. It's a school day. While some have breakfast, others get everything ready. Finally, it's time for the student to set off. This time, it's not one of the 7 Tamale children. Today, it's father who's off to school. Teacher training school. Jumba Tamale is heading out for a 10-day in-service training session, which many of Uganda's untrained primary school teachers attend during vacations. This kind of opportunity would have been a distant dream for a teacher like Mr. Tamale only a few years ago.
All right. Thank you.
Before Uganda began its reform, half its teachers were untrained, and some had not even completed secondary school.
He says teacher 1. Both. Okay.
Endegeya Core Primary Teachers College, where Mr. Tamale is working toward his primary teacher certificate, attracts teachers from over 400 schools in the area.
Again.
The animals. Those are the consumers.
Before the reforms, there were more than 90 of these primary teachers' colleges in the country. In an effort to improve the quality of these colleges, the government has gradually been reducing their numbers, while at the same time introducing a special training curriculum.
Heterotrophic organism.
Mr. Tamale and his colleagues are practicing their methods in small groups. Their goal, teaching their own students to think creatively rather than just repeat facts. These interactive techniques are being used in a number of the country's primary teachers' colleges and are helping to raise educational quality in Ugandan classrooms.
You have promised that when I come to your centers,
Though he's only about halfway through his training, Mr. Tamale feels happy about his progress.
Now I have added more knowledge. I feel more confident because then I didn't know how to arrange a lesson very well.
I have learned a lot of things like teaching methods, improving the classroom environment. It gives me a feeling of feeling happy and proud because my pupils are progressing and they are doing much more better than before.
This is not fiber. What else did you use?
Sarah Sentamu, head teacher at Butega Primary School in central Uganda, is holding a refresher course with fellow teachers at her school. The group is going over a technique learned at Teachers College, how to make teaching aids using available materials like banana leaves.
So this is a nest, and we can see a bird.
Mrs. Santamu is among the first 2,500 head teachers in the country to complete a basic course to improve teaching methods and school management.
Now I can delegate my teachers to do some things. Before that, I had a big load. I could do everything without delegating, but now I can delegate. Books of accounts, now they are proper. I can do them better.
Yes, come in, please. Thank you. Have a seat. Thank you.
As a tutor, Mr. Kate not only visits classrooms, he also helps head teachers like Immaculate Nawandeka keep up with new skills.
He usually asks me how I get on with the work in the school, particularly with the teachers. One day I had a problem and he invited the certain teacher and talked to him. And the teacher, I hope now he's trying to reform.
Another important highlight of Ugandan educational reform has been getting communities more involved in their children's education. Part of Mr. Kate's job is to help volunteer community mobilizers like Mrs. Namala organize meetings with parents to talk about problems affecting their children. This meeting is about the importance of school lunches.
In some cases, parents don't understand why children should come with food. So it is only a matter of maybe educating them.
Mrs. Namala also visits families to follow up on some of the lessons taught at the meeting.
When you talk like the lesson we had today, you can see some parents changing according to the way they have been.
That is number one. What else is being carried out there? We have seen one thing. You can grow.
How did Uganda introduce these dramatic changes in just a few years? It started with the basics of 1, 2, 3, taking a head count of all teachers and students in primary schools like this one.
They started counting us and touching on our heads like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and on and on.
No one knew exactly how many students and teachers were in the system.
So that it can remain what? Balanced.
At the start of Headcount Day, Uganda had 88,000 teachers on the payroll. By evening, only 66,000 remained.
We were able to define more clearly the distribution of teachers, again by number, by qualification and what have you. And from there, also be able to remove from the payroll any duplications.
This is our chair. This is our chair.
The money saved has allowed the government to slowly raise teacher salaries.
That is our basket.
While still underpaid, teachers make 10 times what they did in 1991. Better pay added to improved training has raised teachers' self-esteem.
This is our basket.
After this short course we have so far got, they have started instilling confidence into us, and we are really big men there.
Now, if you go into the local communities, you find the teachers are beginning to play the role of community leaders.
Can children learn without books? Most people would say no. But for years, Ugandan schools had virtually no books or learning materials. That's now changing.
There is a positive change in my students since I used the books, since I started using the books and the learning materials, because learning becomes easy for them.
Sam, a bright 7-year-old, must pay very close attention to Mrs. Mutaki in order to learn his numbers. That's because Mrs. Mutaki is teaching her first-grade class without books or learning materials. Suni Primary School in eastern Uganda has not yet benefited from the educational reforms. It's the way most public schools used to be just a few years ago. Fortunately, reforms are on the way. Dinah Mutaki is looking forward to books and supplies reaching her school to help promising students like Sam. Sisters Rahema, Daya, and Veronica, like everyone else at Butega Primary School, are celebrating. Parents are especially happy. The reason? Several boxes of new textbooks arrived at the school yesterday. Before the reforms, books seldom made it to schools like Butega. The main roadblock was a national textbook system monopolized by a few foreign publishers. Many books ended up being sold on street corners.
We used to have to buy books on the black market, and they were very expensive. The prices were much too high.
I'm not asking about the weather.
When schools did get books, teachers kept them under lock and key.
Formerly, that was the fear that they would spoil some of these books. And it was a habit in some schools that they do keep some of these books in the cupboards without using them.
Recently, the government opened up opportunities for more domestic and foreign companies to compete on the market. The result? Many more children now have school books.
These books are yours, okay?
Rahema's textbooks are now chosen by her teachers from a list sent by the government.
We get those lists, we bring them to our schools, and the teachers themselves do select the books that we need in the school. We look at the content, whether it is on the syllabus, whether it covers the curriculum as it should.
Teaching children about national pride and unity has become a priority for the Ugandan government. After years of war and ethnic conflict, it recognized the need to teach children about being better citizens, starting at the primary level.
It's been a very, very conscious fight against ethnic differences and building towards a Ugandan united culture. Children learn all the dances from Uganda and they perform them all together.
The Ugandan government believes national unity must include girls as well as boys and is encouraging families to send their girls to school. Grinding millet is just one of 13-year-old Juliet's many daily tasks. 2 years ago, her parents pulled her out of 5th grade to work at home.
I wanted to go back to school.
In the village of Patoha, Juliet's case is not unusual.
People in this village believe that educating a girl has no value because after school, when she gets a job, she gives all her money to her husband and not to her own family.
Fortunately, Butoha's volunteer community mobilizer recently convinced Juliet's family to send her back to school.
I will be very happy when they let me go back to school.
Safira's parents, as well as many others in Uganda, already believe in educating daughters.
I'm really happy that God gave me a husband who has the wisdom to send all of our children to school.
When you educate a girl and she marries, she becomes the foundation of her home. Her children will be better off.
Sulam Butiaba and his wife Hadija are helping to build a latrine for their children's school. The success of educational reforms in Uganda rests on involving parents in a variety of activities, from girls' education to helping repair schools.
This money, I've always told you that it depends on the number of enrollment of children you have.
The government is encouraging parents to get more involved in their children's schools. Recently, it has begun to transfer the management of schools from the national to the local level, making school administrators more accountable to their communities.
Can we get some of that money so that we can renovate?
Betty Nambuya and parents all over the country are being encouraged to monitor how head teachers are managing their school funds.
As a parent, it is important because we wish to know how that money is spent.
On wanting to know what is happening, on strict accountability and utilization of their own resources and public resources are done if this was transferred to other areas of social and political life of the country. It would be healthy for democracy.
Emmanuel Katumba is a very serious 14-year-old. When he was only 8, both his parents died of AIDS. This story is not uncommon. 11% of Ugandans under 15 are orphans, and 2/3 of these children have become orphans because of AIDS. Emmanuel and his brothers, Stephen and Alex, and their older sister Rita, decided to stay together in their half-built family home rather than be raised by strangers. Emmanuel decided to work full-time so that his sister could finish primary school. His determination shows that even children in Uganda understand the value of education and are willing to fight for it.
I really wanted to go to school, but the money I made just wasn't enough for my school as well. I said to myself, when our sister finishes school, she'll help us go to school.
The children survived for a while on Emmanuel's wages and money from selling homemade brooms and firewood, but it just wasn't enough. Then, in 1997, Margaret Kawuya, a local community leader, came to their rescue.
I was approached by this young boy, Katumba, who found me in this office, looking for a casual labor. Because it was a rainy season, he wanted money to buy seeds for their garden.
Mrs. Kawuya's support helped feed the children, but was not enough to keep them in school. The children's story is not unusual. In order to focus on improving quality, the government had postponed giving all children in the country free primary education. As a result, half the country's children could not afford school. Things changed for Emmanuel and his siblings in 1997. President Museveni decided that up to 4 children in every family would be entitled to free public education. This new policy is already making a big difference in the lives of these and many other children. Emmanuel, Stephen, and Alex are back in primary school, and all 4 children are paying for Rita's secondary school. For the first time, thanks to the new policy of universal primary education, or UPE, the children are hopeful about the future.
When UPE came, we were all able to go back to school. Now that I'm in school, I feel happy.
The first year of universal primary education, enrollment in primary schools doubled to 5.3 million. By diverting funds, the government added another $14 million to the primary school budget. However, this only covered 1/3 of the additional expense.
Yes, Brenda.
The push to provide education for all has had a huge cost. The result has been overcrowded classrooms, fewer resources to go around, and a drop in quality. Teachers have had mixed reactions. Some complain it's now much harder to teach.
Controlling all those children, one person like this, you are talking here, the other one behind is shouting, is eating.
if the ratio of teacher-pupil ratio could be reduced, maybe we could realize maximum learning in our classrooms.
Why I don't find it difficult with a larger classroom is that I normally group my pupils according to their ability. And I always prepare the enough learning materials for each group. So each group is attended in the maximum way.
Parents like the Mutiabas say universal primary education is a welcome relief.
It has been very helpful because we are using the money we used to pay for school fees for other things. For example, to support our granddaughter, whose mother and father are both dead.
The government is aware that trying to provide an education for all children can undermine quality, but it believes that striving for both access and quality will help the political and economic future of the nation.
This is a powerful tool against poverty, because when people are educated, they have a skill that will enable them to participate in the growing economy.
As you get the population more educated, they speak like a people of one country because they have common development objectives and they have common goals.
In the time he has been a tutor, George Kate has seen great changes taking place. He has seen teachers and head teachers become gifted educators. Students excited by new books, and parents proudly taking on a more active role in their children's schools.
I know the kind of system we are undertaking right now will bring out something that really builds a child who is more self-reliant in his own community.
Enormous challenges lie ahead as the country takes on the dual task of improving quality and access for all. Thousands of teachers must be trained and thousands of classrooms built for the great number of primary students now overcrowding schools. Yet, for children like Emmanuel Katumba, his siblings, and millions of other children, Uganda's educational reforms are already a bright light in a world that until recently held little hope for the future.
Yeah.